Once you know the truth, you cannot unknow it. Capisci?
All right. Yeah. Fully rested, ready to go, and kind of excited about this. Today's been a really good day for me. I hope you guys are having a good day yourselves. I mean, every day really for me is a perfect day. Doesn't matter what's going on. Doesn't matter how fucked up things are. Doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. All is vanity. That's what Ecclesiastes says. All is vanity. All of it. It's all pointless. But watching God work is cool as fuck. There's no there's nothing in the world like it. Um as you know, some of you might have been here for last night's show. By the end of it, I was so done. I was so tired. I was falling asleep sitting here and still preaching. Still telling them. Like I could do this in my sleep. And quite oftentimes I do actually. Like I'll be dreaming and I'll be preaching in my dreams. Like it's cool. I recite scripture in my dreams. It's fun. But some of you might have known my daughter had to go to the hospital thing today, and she's okay. When she got there, they redid all the blood work to make sure why she was there, and turns out everything was fine. Um, so somewhere that happened within the last couple of weeks. Everything went back to normal. She still went through with the biopsy though. They still wanted to do it to make sure. They said everything looked great. They were kind of surprised, but we are still waiting. They said everything looked great. Everything seemed good. All her numbers returned to normal, so they were kind of thrown off by that. But then they still had to do it anyway. So she went through it. We'll get the actual results, not just the doctor's opinion, but we'll get the actual results at some point today, tomorrow. I figured they would have called already if it was something serious. So I'm assuming she's fine. Everything else is good. Heart's good. Lungs are good. Coronary's good. Everything's golden. Um, so that was a huge plus. But there's a little story for today that I found out, man. I'm gonna tell you guys something. Get into a slightly personal story. John 8:34 down there at the bottom. Jesus answered them, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin." Real believers cannot sin. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible to sin at all. Even even for the people watching this that think they sin, it's not possible for them to sin either. They just think they do. You just believe in it, right? Like so real believers cannot sin. Nobody can. It's not possible. Jesus died and reconciled all things. It's physically impossible for somebody to sin. If you call yourself a sinner, that's because that's what you serve. Just like Jesus said, whoever commits sin is the servant of sin. It's very simple. Very easy. Jesus meant exactly what he said. This being said, actually, T, can you turn down the TV out there, please? So the this being said, this is the truth, right? It is the truth. Jesus Christ is the truth. He did it. He ended it all. He paid for it all. The entire world lies in wickedness, right? Everybody that thinks they sin is of the devil. There's no way around it. There's just what up, Lumen? There's no way around it. So what I like about I mean what I all out anyway. I'm absolutely head over heels in love with the Bible. Anybody that comes to this channel knows that. But I like being able to see God work from a believer's standpoint, right? I hear sinners all the time saying, "Oh, I'll just pray." God doesn't hear sinners, not like this. Um, I remember even before I got saved, right? Like even before I got saved, like it was never like it is now. Like I can tell you that. Like I've just seen some crazy shit. And so God pulled one off for me. So most of you know I've got a lot of kids. I've got five the two babies, three girls. I got five that live with us. My son comes every other weekend, and then I have a daughter. Her name is Rayla. And there was one time, I don't know if it was her or her mom pretending to be her. I don't know who it was that came on the show. But I broke. I broke when I saw it was her. I just broke. I missed her so much. Her mom has spent the last 12 years now, almost, brainwashing the fuck out of my daughter, making her hate me, right? And I understand to a certain extent if you look at my life and the decisions that I made in my life, and at the end of the day, I know I'm perfect now, but the decisions I was making 10 years ago weren't always the best, but whose are? Whose are? That's the whole thing. You can't be a fucking hypocrite. You can't be a fucking hypocrite. Um, so my wife was like a 304, right? Okay. I don't know if you know what a 304 is, but if you type 304 on a calculator and turn it upside down, it says ho, the guy to guy to guy to guy to guy type of shit. And so I was stupid. I was young and dumb. Um, when I met my ex, it was it. I wasn't thinking with the right head, but I knew, like I knew. And when we had our daughter, I was fucking. That's all I cared about. Is I loved my daughter. Her name is tattooed on my arm, right here. It's right there. I got to look at it every day, and I love my daughter more than anything in the world, more than fucking anything in the world, hands down. And my daughter knew that then, right? But shit didn't work out with me and the ex, and she pulled a couple of shots and lied on me in court, and got. She said I was like drinking and driving with my daughter on my lap, and I wasn't. It was a can of fucking pop, and she got a order of protection that barred me from being able to see my daughter for 2 years. And then after the 2 years were up, I went back. I went to court, and I'm like, you trying to go see my daughter. She ended up pulling another shot and got me locked up for nothing, for just trying to see my kid. She had me put in jail and was like, stay the fuck away, blah blah blah. And I was, okay. So I actually ended up going to jail a couple times over it. And then I just sat back. I'm like, okay, well, by that point I had already had Oliver, I had my son, and I had other things going on in my life, and there was a point in my life where I, my career came before everything else, and then I don't, I'm every day, all day, I've thought about my daughter since the last time I saw her, and my ex spent the last 12 years brainwashing her to hate me. Right, and that it was like that even before, like, I mean, my ex could not stand how much I love my daughter, like, she could not stand how much my daughter loved me, which is why she pulled the shot she did. And she went on to go be successful. Well, I wouldn't even call it successful, right? She's paramedic or fires or whatever. I don't even call that. This is not fucking, like, that's not shit. And she went guy to guy to guy to guy to guy, failed marriage to failed marriage, and I think now she's back to being a 304. And so, really long story short, I made the decision to sit back and just wait for my daughter, right? Because I knew that no matter if I try and go see if I now complete I have complete rights to do so. I have a custody agreement between me and my ex that says I get her every other weekend and one night a week and X amount of holidays or whatever. I could go pick her up next weekend and there'd be not a fucking thing Melissa could do legally. And but I made the decision, I know that Melissa is brainwashing my daughter. I know for a fact that that's what she's doing. She's trying to convince her that I'm this evil fucking dude and that she's a saint. So I made the decision to sit back and wait for my daughter because I know that there will be a day where Rayla's going to want to talk to me. And then her mom's going to try and give her all the reasons why she shouldn't, right? And that's when Rayla's going to figure it out. That's when Rayla's going to look at her mom and go, okay, all right, why? Why don't you want me to talk to him, And I'm hoping she has enough sense to figure that out. I'm hoping she has enough sense to understand that you can't get both sides of the story from only one side of it. Um, but at the end of the day, I got set up. She's been brainwashing my daughter for the last 12 years. And so through all this, my daughter found out. I don't know when. I don't know how. I don't fucking know. I don't even know how they found out about me being the preacher, right? So there was a day where allegedly my daughter. I still don't know if it was or not. I'm not taking down the video because I don't know. I don't know if it was. And the day that I finally get to talk to my daughter, I'm gonna ask her if it was her, and I'm gonna show her the video. Um, I thought it was very awkward. I was after, like, because after she came on the show, she came in the comments, right? On the comments one day, and I just broke down, and I thought it very awkward because the very next day I got an email from her saying that she wanted me to take down the video, and I was like, "No, like, I want you to do this Bible study or, you know, or we're just not gonna talk because that's what I'm about, right?" And, that was hard. That was the hardest fucking thing for me to ever say to anybody. But at the end of the day, that's the truth, right? If she doesn't line up with the Bible, then she's gonna hate me anyway. It doesn't make a fucking difference. She's gonna hate me no matter what I do. So if she's gonna hate me, I'm gonna let her hate me for the right reasons. So she had asked me to take down the video, which I thought was kind of odd. So I never did take down the video. Not gonna happen. Because the day that I do finally get to talk to my daughter, I'm going to ask her if that was her that was there. I'm going to ask her, I'm going to line shit up, boom. And I'm just hoping she has enough sense to realize that she has been being brainwashed for the last 12 years, that her mom's a fucking hypocrite, and she's been lying to her. I mean, that's it. She's been lying to her, manipulating her, and terrified, terrified that my daughter will sit down and have a conversation with me. She's terrified of it because she knows that Rayla's going to get the other side and that I actually didn't do shit. I was a good dad. Even then, even when me and my ex were split, I was still a good dad. And I can say that wholeheartedly. I know from the bottom of my heart, I love the fuck out of my kid. I've got a scar on the top of my head, a nasty one from a stupid decision my ex made, and I ended up beating the shit out of two different dudes because I mean they were fucking belligerently drunk, and she brought them home while my daughter was sleeping, and I didn't know. Nobody'd ever know. It's a long story, but Melissa made some shit decisions and then framed me, set me up, and made it so I couldn't see my kid anymore because she was afraid that Rayla might love me more. And even I understand that, no parent should do that to their children. No parent should do that to their children ever. Should never try and spin a child against their parent. I'm really big on letting the child figure it out for themselves. I'll yank the mask off a wolf in a heartbeat, and everybody that watches this, you guys all know it. So So I wanted my decision to sit back and just wait on my daughter came at a cost because if I would have gone after my daughter, I'd just be in and out of jail, right? My ex is just going to keep setting me up, keep making shit up, keep trying blah 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 blah. And I've got 6 other kids. You know, for me making the decision to sit back and wait on my daughter is because when my daughter finally wants to talk to me and wants to have that relationship, wants to figure out who she is, that other side of her that makes it so she can never fit in anywhere, right? Like I already know because that's how I grew up. I couldn't fit in with anybody ever anywhere at all. Like no matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried at anything, I was just never good at anything. Like it was never. I didn't excel in this world. This world is not what I was meant for, and it's the same for her. And so when she's, when she finally wants to have that relationship with me, when she finally wants to talk, if she'll give me more than the fucking 10 or 15 minutes she did in the comments, right? I get it. Like people see the persona, right? You see the cigarettes and alcohol and I drink, whatever. You see all that, and you can form an opinion from that, but that would make you a fucking hypocrite to do so, because if you're gonna go by the law, if you break one, you're guilty of all. So if she would give me more than the 10 minutes, what would happen is if she wanted to talk to me, her mom's not gonna let her. Not gonna let her. Not gonna let it happen. Her mom's gonna want it controlled. Her mom's gonna want to make sure she's her fucking nose is in everything because her mom's afraid. She's fucking terrified that my daughter's gonna find out the truth, which she would. I'm not gonna hold back nothing. I'm not gonna hide shit from her like Melissa does. It's not gonna happen. But like, so her mom's terrified of this, and I know she is because once Rayla figures it out, it's a bad day for Melissa. So somehow they figured out I have the channel, and I found out that a few days ago. I don't know why. I have no idea why. And I would pay to see the paper. I really would pay to see the papers. I'm gonna show you guys something. God's got my back, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now, He has my back. And I don't understand why. Like, I mean, this is a level of hatred, right? There's a level of hatred here because of the gospel now, because and the whole thing, I can even show you guys the emails. I'll show you the emails. Let me show you this real quick though. Yes, I fully intend on doing Bible study today. This is a story in my life that just I mean, it just tells me that I hit the nail on the head, man. It's cool. Like, it's just cool to see God work. Where it go? Court. No, I need this one. Court denied. 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 So obviously, my ex knows that I'm the preacher. My ex knows what I preach. My daughter, I gave her the Bible study. She told me, well, allegedly, I think it's my daughter that I was talking to. I think it's my daughter that I was talking to. It could be my ex pretending to be, but I gave her the Bible study, and she said she would not talk to me if I ever brought up that study again. This is how much these people hate the Bible, right? So she went to court the other day. I didn't know about this. I had no clue. I found out today because I just completed all my criminal shit, right? I had a case from like 3 or 4 years ago. 4 years ago. It was my last 5 years ago. No. Holy shit, it was almost whatever. It's 5 years old. A 5-year-old case. I had community service hours on. I had two cases. I had a total of 600 community service hours over the last 2 years that I've had to get done. And I just finished that today. But I was checking up on the case to make sure that the paperwork all went through, that my community service is done, and I found out that May 9th this year, May 9th and May 12th, not once, twice, she tried to go get an order of protection against me again for nothing, for nothing. And the judge, you see the circle down there? Says denied, denied. She hates me so fucking much that she would do anything she can to make it so I cannot talk to my daughter because she's got her brainwashed and she knows that the minute my daughter and I speak, her days are done. They're done. They're done. The truth is going to come out eventually. Like, there's no way around it. The truth is going to come out eventually. It has to. It has to come out. What is it? Yeah. Yeah, buddy. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing the tribulation worketh patience. I love that part because that's the patience. And even as an unbeliever, I had the common sense to make the decision to just say, okay, I'm going to wait on my daughter. Like, I understand that it's got to be hell for her, like, going to school, and she knows that I'm in the world. She knows, and she knows she can't see me, and she's wondering why, and she's blaming me, but it's really not my fault. And I did. I made the decision to sit back and just wait for her because if I push and push and push and push, what am I going to do? Her mom's going to end up going to jail, right? For not letting me see her for the last 11 years, for not keeping good on her paperwork, right? That it's just going to cause her more problems. And I'm not trying to cause her problems. I want to be the solution. And that's just how I am. I'm not going to sit here and play the tit for tat with my ex because at the end of the day, it's going to blow up in her face no matter what because God is good. And so he had my back when somebody was trying to knife me in it. I'm gonna cry. Fuck. Fucking bitch. Ah. He had my back when someone was trying to knife me in it. She can't stand the idea of me and my daughter having a relationship because it means that her relationship with her will be over. She'll see her for what she really is, which is just a fucking hypochondriac, brainwashed Looney Tunes. Fucking Looney Tunes. And every relationship this bitch has had since me has failed. Right? And her the one with me, I think, was probably the best shot she had at one succeeding. because she's fucking nuts. And that I like, I've always liked him crazy, but I'm happily married now. So I don't, I just, and it's all for the gospel, right? Because this would not have happened. Like she would not have been trying to go get an order of protection if I was not the preacher. Period. And she's trying to go do it because she knows if I talk to it's just a fucked ass situation. I just can't wait for my daughter to wake up, and I hope she has enough common sense. I hope she has enough common sense to realize when I just hope I just hope she has the common sense to realize that when people, it's like why I don't block the haters usually, right? I didn't want to block Dave. I really didn't. You got to have them because they prove that it's true. They prove that what I'm saying is the truth. They prove that the Bible's right. Right? Jesus said that you'll be hated by all men for my name's sake, right? All manner of hatred, all kinds of shit, false accusations, blah blah blah. I've been through it all. We lost our fucking house. I've had people falsely call DCFS on me like 2, 3 fucking times. False. Complete just fucking false. And I mean it was I've seen it all. So did this surprise me? Not at all. Does it prove that the Bible is true? Absolutely. Does it prove that, I just hope my daughter has the common sense. I hope she has common sense. I hope she has what I have. I hope she was given what I got. I really do. And I'm excited because I know how this goes. It's gonna blow up in her face. I might end up like throughout the whole thing, she's gonna try and pull a shot. I know she's fucking nasty hypocrite, right? That's what they do. That's what they do. So I anticipate maybe going to have and sit for a couple of weeks for child support arrearages. I can see that happening. But I sent her 14 grand last year, like or a year and a half ago, whenever it was. It was a year ago. I sent her 14 grand last year. So I mean, but as far as me being a stay at home dad with the children I have now, that's the decision that me and my wife made. That was what was profitable for my children. That was what profitable for me and my wife. That's what made our relationship healthy. You know. So I mean, the worst the judge is going to tell me to do is go get a job. But if she's going to go that route, then she's going to have to give up them visitations again. So it's all going to blow up in her face anyway. And then I filed a writ to have her ass arrested for fucking withholding my daughter from me for 11 years. So I just thought it was really neat that she got denied. And the truth is, if you're going to accuse me of shit, you better have proof. You got to have proof. And I don't do shit wrong. I don't do fucking thing. I don't do nothing. I sit at home and what? The worst thing I do is sit at home and fucking have a few drinks while I preach the Bible. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna say? That makes me a fucking evil person? Oh, because I say the word fuck and the word shit. That makes like they gotta judge themselves. Fucking hypocrites, man. Hypocrites. Then the Bible is such an awesome book because it exposes them. It fucking exposes them. And she got my daughter brainwashed, but I don't think my daughter's gonna listen forever. I really don't. I really, really don't. I think she's gonna figure it out. She can't. I know she don't fit in anywhere at all. It's impossible. Like it. I mean, the same goes really for my son too. Like we don't fit in anywhere, and it's always been that way for me. I think it was that way even for my brother for the longest time. I just met him a month ago, so I don't like, and I'd be willing to bank on that. Like it's just how we are. So there speaking of, I love you too, brother. It's just it's just how we are. So I know there's got to be a day where my daughter's gonna ask, my daughter. She's a fucking girl, right? She's going into her teens, right? She'll be 15 this year, I think. Yeah, she'll be 15 this year. So she's going into her teens, and there's I could just picture it now. She's gonna be like, I want to talk to my dad, and my ex is gonna be like, no, right? And she's gonna be like, well, I thought you said I could, and I could already see how the fight goes. I could already see how it goes, and this is all gonna expose my ex for what she really is, and it's a fucking rotten, nasty ass hypocrite who lied, and cost my daughter 11 years with her dad. Fucking bitch, you know. And at the end of the day, it's aggravating. But on the plus side, yeah, I don't know how they'd react to the book though, dude. I do. I've been thinking about those uncles, man. Like, I don't know. Like, do they? I don't know, dude. I wanted to find you. That was it. And I found my brother. Right, and I had a that's the good see, and then there's that too, like, all this shit, like Melissa getting fucking denied by the judge. I got to meet my brother. Like, God is just so fucking good to me, and every day it's something different. Every day, he's just, he's so amazing. I can't even put it into words, right? Not being not being a sinner is just the beginning. That's just the beginning. When you find out that you can't sin, right? That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. It's fucking phenomenal. So, and that's why I got Psalm 91 pulled up on the screen. I want to start there. I really do. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place. Psalm 91, verse 1. So if you got your Bible, open up your Bible. I'll give you a minute. I know. I'm sorry I'm long winded on the story. I just, that was good, man. My daughter got really good news today. She's home. My wife and her are home. They're not still out in the city. Um, and then I fucking I wish I could have seen her face when the judge denied it. You gotta have something. You gotta have solid evidence to prove that you know. Like I would have to actually threaten somebody or do something. I don't do shit. I'm so like you guys have no idea how perfect. Perfect. That this is all really working out. Perfect. Perfect. I would never hurt anybody. I've got no ill will towards anybody. I forgive everybody for everything and I don't judge. I don't judge anybody for anything. I don't care what you've done. Right? What are you gonna do? Run to tell a judge that, oh, he loves everybody. Now I need an order of protection. The fuck? All my dues are paid to society. Everything is done. Now now comes the fun parts. So I'm excited. Psalm 91, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Now that secret place, I'll tell you right now, it's it's God's best kept secret. It really, really is. You'll tie that Psalm 91 verse 1. You'll tie that to Proverbs chapter 3 verse 32. He said, "For the froward is an abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous." Right, and that secret is that we can't sin. That's the secret that Jesus paid for it all. It's the world's best kept secret, and he hides it and he blinds the minds of everybody that hates him. So back to Psalm 91, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. This right here. That what He just did for me the other day is that right there. He delivered me from the snare of the fowler. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thank you so much, Jesus. Whew. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come near thy dwelling. You want to know what we never got? Rona. None of us. Nobody in my house. Verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. He doesn't even want you to stub your toe. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder. The young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. because he hath set his love upon me. Therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. There's nothing better in the world than this. I don't care who you are. I don't give a fuck what your ideas or opinions are. I don't care. What I have, what I'm trying to show people, there's nothing in the world better than what I have. And I have it. I got it. I nailed it. And I show it to people. And the people that understand it, they nail it. They get it. Like Lumen up here. And hopefully my brother. I can't wait till he starts sending me Bible verses. But he does. He knows he paid for it all. I told Donnie. Donnie knows. But right here, Nevin, you know, even Nevin, like for the last week, right? Every so he comes into the group and he's like, just he doesn't. There's no weight on his shoulders anymore. Yeah, and I love those stories. Like I love that when people come back after reading the Bible and they're like, dude, holy fuck, thank you. It's not me. You think it's Jesus, right? And everybody, like, we all know that. We all understand. I'm just saying, like, it's those stories that make everything worth it. Makes all this worth it. And patience, experience, and experience wait is yeah. And hope maketh not ashamed. Ooh, I don't know. That is, what did she say? Oh, that's it. He paid for it all, Teresa. He paid for it all. What is Kraus? Can I ask? What is Kraus? She comes from Facebook. Look at, hey, everybody. This is Alex right here. This Paul Hoffman guy. This is Alex again. Alex Patronis. He made a whole nother account just so I can block it. You rejected, dude. You're subverted and you sinneth. You choose sin, man. You prove it every time. Just so everybody understands before I do this right here. This is like 4 accounts now. He keeps boop, 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 boop. Titus chapter 3, right here. But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition, reject them, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. If they still sin and they won't listen, fuck them. I mean, I usually don't block people. I really just is what it is. Yeah, it's Alex again. And I want to tell you guys, like, let me tell you how creepy that is. That this dude, he's on 2 different platforms under 4 different names, 5 now, 5 different names, right? That's creepy shit. That's creepy shit. Creepy as fuck. What is Teresa? What does Kraus mean? Oh, I think you meant she's Jesus. Okay, I get it. I get it now. You mistype or whatever the fuck, maybe your phone or something. So yeah, that was Alex. I didn't think so last night because last night I was, fucking going through kind of a lot of emotion and shit, and I was just enjoying myself, drinking and fucking preaching. Um, I talked to him on a different channel, right? And I didn't pay attention to the channel that I was talking to him on. Like this guy had commented me, and I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to the channel that the comments were on. I didn't know what thread I was replying to. I'm just replying to a guy named Paul Huffman that said some shit. And I'm like, here, why don't you just come over to my channel? I'm going to be live here in a little bit. And then he came over here, and then we got to talking. And Tim V's like, dude, that's Alex. I'm like, no, it can't be. I got him from another channel. This morning when I woke up to fucking 10 paragraphs of fucking the same Alex bullshit, right? And then I was like, you know what? Let me see what channel I pulled him from. It was fucking Sins and Blunders. And so I was like, okay, well, that's definitely Alex. So he had replied to one of my comments on sins and blunders, and there he was. So he gone. I'm not doing a shit no more. Right down here. It's okay. It's okay. Fuck. You should see. I left the video up from last night. I really did because I don't give a fuck. I'm perfect. It doesn't matter. And you'll see. I'm sitting there nodding out, fucking half in the bag, tired as fuck. My daughter's in Chicago at the hospital, and I'm talking to this guy up here online. And even when I'm sitting like this, I'm still quoting scripture. I there's no there's no amount of alcohol in the world that could make me not preach the gospel. Like it's not gonna happen. There's no I am sober at all times, 1000% because I'm sober here. Like it doesn't it's just so good, man. God is so fucking good. He paid for it all. He fucking paid for it all. Yes. See? Real believers just can't sin. All right, so we're gonna have some fun. Well, I don't want to say fun. I mean, for me, it's fun. Last night, I really wanted to pick up where I left off my own personal studies. So I hope you guys don't mind. That's what I want to do. For those of you that are relatively new, this might be a tad challenging for you because I want to go to Exodus and I want to read in Exodus because I'm at like Exodus 24. And I read, I mean, I still read like I still got, Philippians, Galatians, all this shit like I do during the day in the morning. But like my personal when I sit down and I bang out like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours in a row reading the Bible, I go through it, beginning to end just like everybody else. But then throughout, when I'm not, and that's when I have the actual time to just sit down and do it. So like my sit down and I have the time to do it right now. I'm in Exodus 24, but I'm gonna go back and start at Exodus 20, and then obviously, whatever the comments are here too. So I hope you guys don't mind if you got your Bibles, pen, paper. That's really what I want to do. Um, so it's a tad challenging because when you read all the laws, right, your body's like, oh, you gotta do like your body almost. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's temptation. I mean, it really is. Like you want to. I mean, and that's really what it is. That's why all these people are fucked because they want to feel like they have something to do with it, but they don't. Jesus said, "Deny yourself," and it means you deny yourself in full, 100%. You have nothing to do with it. He paid for it all. Everything's done. But reading the law sometimes, I just don't want you guys to. I don't want to cause anybody to. I don't know what the word for it is. I just want to read. So Exodus chapter 20, and the reason I picked 20 is because it's the Ten Commandments. And what's fun, right? Like man, dude, you guys have no idea how much I love this fucking book. I think it's fun because all the people that think they're still under the law, right? You can require it of them. Like if they're going to tell you that you got to keep some kind of law, well, then they've got to prove that they do first. That's oh boy. Okay, so Exodus chapter 20. Uh, Beautiful. Oh, that's where we were last night. Now I remember. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad I waited for this. For everybody that's here now, I did set up the show for Enoch. I did set up the show for Enoch. It'll be Sunday. I put the link, and the reason I picked it a week out because if you don't have a copy of it, right? This is the copy that I have. This is the one. This is the one, right? I put the link to it on Amazon. It's $15. I put the link to it on Amazon in the description of the video, and I waited a week to give you time to go get a copy so you can read along with me. I have I have it on. I have it on here. I have an actual let me see. Oh, I don't really want to bounce to it, but I have. Can you see? Can we see the top of my screen? No, you can't see the top of my screen. Okay, so I have it bookmarked. It's the same exact thing for when we do Enoch, but you're gonna want a paper copy, just like you see all the underlines and shit in the paper Bible, right? Like you see the underlines and all the writings in the paper Bible. You're gonna want to have that in the book of Enoch also, so I waited a week. Tell him, ETT, tell him to go ahead and read the Bible and figure it out for himself. It's funny, man. Every time I want to sit down and actually read, people start coming and they're like, they want to interrupt and fucking, that was funny. All right. Not today. And I'm taking, there we go. Okay. Okay, so Exodus chapter 20. You guys are going to love this. You guys are going to love this. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven or above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Now, all these people that preach laws, if they only knew that them crosses around their neck was fucking idol. They don't, they can't grasp that, right? Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. And that's still true to this day. He's a very jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Now, this is cool. I want to show you this. And this right here is the reason why I picked chapter 20 to start at. And we talked about this last night, but now, okay. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. See this? He's talking about the 144,000. Thousands, not millions, not billions, not definitely not millions, right? Does it say millions? No. It says showing mercy unto thousands, 144,000 to be exact, from back then till now. That's it. That's it. If you don't make sure you line up with this book, if you don't fucking put in the time and the effort, then that's your business. Go ahead, don't. I don't care. Keep serving sin if you want to. I don't care. But even in Exodus, he tells you it's only thousands. That's why it's so rare. That's why everybody's like, we've never heard this before, because it's been a while. So, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. And we all know, right? The real believers know that we're not under them, so we can't break them. So because we can't break them, we're actually keeping them spotless. We're keeping them perfect by trusting that Jesus did it for us. And he kept them perfect and freed us from it. So I can't break the law. So by default, I keep it perfectly. So it's that time. Thank you. So verse 6, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Now, what's really neat, when you really think about it, there's a verse in the Bible that says that all the works were finished from the foundation of the world. On that seventh day, God rested from his works. Did he ever pick up works again? No. Even till now, God still is in that rest, and that's how it is for a believer. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. No lying. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor. Now, this is number 10, just to show you, right? You've got 1, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And I'm going to pull up the actual list. I want to show you this. And you're going to take note of this, because when you go to show this to people, you need to remember that number 10 is very important. Fresh squeezed orange juice. Oh, I love it so much. Okay. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That is commandment number 1. Thou shalt not make to thee any graven image. That is commandment number 2. Thou shalt not take his name, the Lord thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. That is number 3. Now, what's cool about this one, when you've got people that don't believe in God, they say they don't believe, right? You got people that whatever they say they don't believe. But what's really cool about this one, and what's neat, is even the people who don't believe, when they get pissed off at something, they take his name in vain. They'll say, "God damn it," or "Jesus Christ, Jesus fucking Christ." How many times you heard that, right? How many times have you said it, right? So even the people who don't believe in God will still take his name in vain. Why? Because they're breaking it. It's in their heart. That's the proof, right? So every time, so if somebody says they don't believe in God, but then they take his name in vain, why do they take his name in vain if God isn't real? Why do they do that? Because it's in them. So remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. That is number 4. Honor thy father and thy mother. That is number 5. Thou shalt not kill is number 6. Thou shalt not commit adultery is number 7. Thou shalt not steal is number 8. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbors, number 9. And thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Thou shalt not, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. So we're going to take a quick trip. So you're going to tie Exodus chapter 20, verse 17, tie it to Romans chapter 7, verses 4 and 7. Thou shalt not covet. This is how you prove that Jesus fulfilled the law and yes, even the 10 commandments. Because in Romans chapter 4, verse 4, he said, or Romans chapter 7, verse 4. I don't know why I went to Romans chapter 4 here. So Romans chapter 7, verse 4, he says, "Wherefore, my brethren, you also are become dead to the law by the body of Christ." Right? We're dead to the law. So we're not under it anymore. We're dead to that law. And then down here in verse 7, he tells you what law that is. He says, "What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law," that's that same law we're dead to, "for I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet." So he's talking about being dead to the 10 commandments. You're not under them anymore. You're not under the 613 ordinances. You're not under any of that anymore. So Exodus chapter 20, verse 17, tie it to Romans chapter 7, verse 7. All right. Moses comforts the people. And in between chapters, I'll check the comments. So that way, if you've got questions, I can help. "And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not." This is awesome, right? And you can use this too. You're gonna love this. So, and Moses said unto the people, "Fear not, for God is come to prove you that his fear may be before your faces, that you what? Sin not." So the law was a prophecy about Jesus, right? That's all it was. It was just a prophecy about what Jesus was going to do to make it so they can't, so that they wouldn't sin, right? It was just to bring them to faith. That's it. "And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God has come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that you sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. And the Lord said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, You have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold. You shall not make with me gods of silver, make with him. You shall not imitate imagery. You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen, in all places where I record my name. I love this. In all places where I record my name, that's God telling you he wrote the book, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, this is neat. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it out of hewn stone, honed stone, however you want to say it. That's cut stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by the steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereupon or thereon. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. He didn't want any stairs. He didn't want anything touching the stone that was supposed to be his altar, right? And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it out of hewn stone. But for if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. All these people in their heathen buildings, if they only knew. All right, Exodus 21:1. Oh, told you I would check in between. Oh, still nothing. Okay. Oh wow, 10 people still in here. Cool. Exodus 21:1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door or unto the door post, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. So they would take a ring, and that would be it. You were that guy's property. 7. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do. If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her. So if you buy a female, right? If you were to buy a female, then you can't sell them to a strange. You can't sell them back out to a strange nation. Sorry, my thing's going. Okay, just right here. Verse 8. If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. He that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. And if a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall be free, whether he shall flee. My bad. Then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, thou shalt take from him mine altar that he might die. And he that smiteth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. And he that curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. This will actually go to Proverbs. That's still Proverbs 20. Let me see. I'm looking for something real quick. Let me see. I think it's Proverbs 20. Yeah. So Exodus 21:17. Right here. Tied to Proverbs 20:20. Whoso curses his father or his mother, his lamp shall be put out in obscure darkness. Hold on. Whoso curses his father or his mother, his lamp shall be put out in obscure darkness. It's got kind of a different meaning to it in Proverbs, but nonetheless. And he that curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. Verse 18. And if men strive together, and one smite another with a stone or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit. And only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. So if you get into a fight with somebody, what's going on here? Let me see. What the hell? What on earth? I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't know if she's in here or not. I don't know if Jessica's here. Yeah. Uh, okay. So Exodus 21, verse 19. If he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit. Only he shall pray for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money. If men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall surely be punished, according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. Now, if you remember, this is Matthew 5. So when Jesus is quoting this in Matthew chapter 5, Jesus tells you, blah, 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 blah. So this is where he set the bar. Oh, wait, I got to share the tab here. Oh, yeah, I hope you guys are following along. Do, do, do. Okay. Matthew chapter 5, verse 20, he says, For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter the kingdom of heaven. So, and he's saying this because the scribes and the Pharisees, that's the bar that he set. They're not getting in, right? So your righteousness has to exceed theirs. And Jesus is talking about if you're going to try and keep the law. If you're going to try and keep the law, your righteousness has to exceed that of the Pharisees. You have to be perfect. And he goes into this, he starts explaining, and he starts talking about laws. Like he's comparing to the law, like where here, you've heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looks on a woman with to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee, for it is profitable that for thee one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Okay? So if your right eye offends you, you're supposed to pluck it out. And that's if you're going to go by the law. If you're going to try, if you think you're going to get in by being the best you can be, you better cut off your hands and pluck out your eyes. You're going to have to, because you're not going to be able to keep the law otherwise. And your righteousness has to exceed that of the Pharisees. So he goes in a little further because we're just tying this to Exodus real quick. Uh, right here. So Matthew chapter 5, verse 38, Jesus says, You have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. Right? He's just showing you that no matter, I mean, if you're going to go by the law, there's no way. You're never going to do it. You're never ever going to do it. He did it for you, and he made you perfect on that cross. That's why in verse 548 he says, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which in heaven is perfect." But just to show, uh, you'll tie Exodus 21 verse 24 to Matthew chapter 5 verse 38. You have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. Exodus chapter 21. Verse 24. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. And if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. And if he smite out his manservant's tooth or his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. If an ox gore a man or a woman, that they die, then the ox shall surely be stoned, and his flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox were wont to push his horn in times past, and it hath been testified to his owner, and he hath not kept him in, but that he hath killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death. If there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him, whether he have gored a son or have gored a daughter, according to this judgment shall it be done unto him. If the ox shall push a manservant or maidservant, he shall give unto their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. And if a man shall open a pit, so if you dig a hole, or if a man shall dig a pit and not cover it, and an ox or an ass fall therein, the owner of the pit shall make it good, and give money unto the owner of them, and the dead beast shall be his. And if one man's ox hurt another's, that he die, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the money of it, and the dead ox also shall they divide. Or if it be known that the ox hath used to push in times past, and his owner hath not kept him in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead shall be his own. I mean, the law, the ordinances go so deep, right? So deep. But that's good. So if a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore five oxen for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him, for he should make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox or ass or sheep, he shall restore double. If a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten, and shall put in his beast, and shall feed in another man's field, of the best of his own field and of the best of his own vineyard shall he make restitution. If a fire break out and catch in thorns, so that the stacks of corn or the standing corn or the field be consumed therewith, he that kindleth the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man shall deliver unto his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it be stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, let him pay double. If the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the judges to see whether he have put his hand unto his neighbor's goods. For all manner of trespass, whether it be for an ox, for an ass, for sheep, for raiment, or for any manner of lost thing, which another challengeth to be his, the cause of both parties shall come before the judges, and whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double unto his neighbor. If a man deliver unto his neighbor an ass, or an ox, or a sheep, or any beast to keep, and it dies, or be hurt, or driven away, no man seeing it, then shall an oath of the Lord be between them both, that he hath not put his hand unto his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept thereof, and he shall not make it good. And if it be stolen from him, he shall make restitution unto the owner thereof. If it be torn in pieces, then let him bring it for witness, and he shall not make good that which was torn. If a man borrow aught of his neighbor, and it be hurt or die, the owner thereof being not with it, he shall surely make it good. But if the owner thereof be with it, he shall not make it good. But if it be a hired thing, it came for his hire. Hang on, I really do want to respond to that. Just to be, I don't. Exodus 22, verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Look at that. I always thought that was funny. What's up, Primal? Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Whosoever lieth with a beast shall surely be put to death. He that sacrificeth unto any god save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If thou afflict them in any wise, and they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by that the sun goeth down. For that is his covering only, it is his raiment for his skin, wherein shall he sleep? And it shall come to pass, when he crieth unto me, that I will hear, for I am gracious. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people. Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thy ripe fruits, and of thy liquors, the firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me. Likewise, thou shalt do with thine oxen and with thy sheep. 7 days it shall be with his dam. On the 8th day thou shalt give it me. And you shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall you eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. You shall cast it to the dogs. It's supposed to be holy. Thou shalt not raise a false report. No lies. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrestle judgment. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him. Thou shalt not wrestle the judgment of thy poor in his cause. Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise and perverteth the words of the righteous. Also thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for you know the heart of a stranger, seeing you were strangers in the land of Egypt. And 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. But in the 7th year thou shalt let it rest and lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat. And you'll see farmers actually still do this today. There's always that 1 year where they just leave the field alone. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest and lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat. And what they leave the beasts in the field shall eat. In like manner thou shalt deal with thy vineyard and with thy olive yard. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and that the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. And in all the things that I have said unto you be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days as I commanded thee, in the time appointed, in the month of Abib. For in it thou camest out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered thy labors out of the field. 3 times in a year all thy males shall appear before the Lord God. Thou shalt not offer thy blood, the blood of my sacrifice, with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the firstfruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. Behold, now this, thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. It means you don't kill a goat and then cook it in the goat's mom's milk. Like, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place where I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. And you shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in the land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. And I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and by little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. Oh, I love that. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. And thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin again. Look at that. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. And you actually see them like they always want to preach law, law, law. I got to keep them commandments. They have epically failed this. Epically failed this. Even today, all the people that claim to be a flesh Jew, all the people in Israel, right? What are they allowing? They allow the Palestinians to be there. They don't even have their own Temple Mount. They're not even allowed to go to their own fucking Temple Mount. It's fucked up. So fucked up. Yet they claim to obey God. So fucking oof. Look at the fucking Canaanites, Hivites. Where did he list them off? The Philistines. There it is. The Philistines, right? They're still there. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. And what does Israel do? All they do is sin. That's it. They're not the real Jews, though. That's why. Exodus 24:1. And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord thou, and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship you afar off. And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come near, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, Now watch this, watch this. So God gives that law, right? And those are, that's not even a fraction of it still. So he gives them that law. The law was spiritual, right? Well, I mean, yes and no. So the law was the prophecy of what Jesus was going to do, right? Jesus came, he kept the law, he fulfilled it. Moses was writing about Jesus when he wrote all those things, okay? So, and Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments. Now, watch this. And all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words which the Lord hath said, we will do. They signed up for it themselves. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord and rose up early in the morning and builded an altar unto the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, right here. He took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. And they said, All that the Lord hath said, we will do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Okay. So you're going to tie this, Exodus 24, 7 and 8. These people said that they would do it all, right? You're going to tie it to, it's going to be Hebrews. Um, I think it's Hebrews, I want to say Hebrews 9. Let me see. Yes. Boom. It is Hebrews chapter 9, verse 9. So Exodus 24, 7 and 8. You're going to tie to Hebrews chapter 9, verse 9 and 10. Uh, well, yeah. Which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect, as pertaining to the conscience, which stood only in meats and drinks and diverse washings and carnal ordinances imposed on them until the Reformation. So all these things that he was commanded could not make their conscience perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did. Let me see if that comes up. Yeah, that's it. But Christ being come a high priest of good things to come by greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of a heifer sprinkling the unclean sanctifieth to the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? Jesus cleanses the conscience, makes you perfect, period. Everything. Verse 9. All right. Verse 8. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone, as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw God, and did eat and drink. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of God, and he said unto the elders, tarry you here for us until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai. And the cloud covered it 6 days. And the seventh day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. If you want to see something really cool, Mount Sinai, the top of it is still black to this day from when Moses went up there. And it's in Turkey, and they've got it all blocked off. You're not allowed to climb up it. You can go look. It's fucking neat. They've got it all fenced off. The government doesn't let you go up to the top. They don't want nobody touching it. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud and gat him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. And actually, you know what? Let's see if I can pull up a picture of it here. If I'm gonna fucking read Bible with you, I might as well show you everything I know, right? Right here. I'll share this, Dave, instead. Share this one. Mount Sinai's distinct blackened peak. The rocks at the top of the mountain are only black on the outside. The inside is a different color, making it tempting for believers in the Exodus story. But it's just fact. It's just fact. See how it's still black? Can you see that? How the top of it is still black? Isn't that cool? It's cool as fuck. and they've got it all fenced off. You can't go up there. Exodus 25. Oh, back to comments. All right. Exodus chapter 25, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering. Of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering. Now, I don't know, Jessica, are you in here yet? Because this will come into play later. Let me see if she's watching this. Because she's got questions on spiritual shit, dealing with, fucking real demonic shit. And this is one of the most important parts. So even as a believer, right? As a believer, for us to convert somebody, for you to be able to actually convert someone, they have to have a willing heart. They have to want it. They have to want it. They have to want to they have to want the truth. They have to want it. If they don't want it, then no matter what you do, God's got them shut off. Their little switch is flipped. They can't understand it no matter how hard you try. Right. And sometimes that's painful because, we got family like moms, dads, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins. For me, my daughter, right? If she doesn't want the truth, there's nothing that I can do to force it. You can't. It has to be willing. So the same goes for like everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. And so, like, if you've got somebody that's straight up dealing with some seriously demonic shit, unless they want the truth, then it's never going to go away because they choose unrighteousness. They choose unbelief. They choose to serve sin. That's what they choose. And everybody that sins, it doesn't matter who they are, everybody that sins chooses to serve sin. That's what they choose. And you can show them and try. You can try, entice them, fucking convince them. Paul said, Be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. And actually, there's a verse that says we got to subvert the hearers. Hang on, I'll pull it up. Subverting the hearers, right? That's what we're supposed to do, kind of tricking them into subverting. Why isn't it coming up? Subverting the hearers. Let me see. Oh, it's not gonna. Oh, maybe it did. 2 Timothy 2:14. Let's see if this is it. 2 Timothy. Cross my fingers here. 2 verse 14. Boom. Yes, it is. Of these things, put them in remembrance, charging them before the Lord that they strive not about words to no profit, but to the subverting of the hearers. Subversion is like underhanded shit, right? It's sneaky, right? It's being sneaky. So, I mean, there's a million different ways to convert somebody, but they have to first have that willing heart. You can subvert them into having a willing heart or beat them into it one way or the other, but I mean, it has to be a free will. It has to be of their own free will. Without it, they're fucked. So Exodus 25 verse 1, and the Lord spake unto Moses, we're back here, yep. Speak unto the children of Israel that they bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering. Willingly, it has to be willing. And this is the offering which you shall take of them: gold, silver, and brass, blue, purple, scarlet, fine linen, and goat's hair, ram skins dyed red, and badger skins, and shittim wood, oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it. Now we did this the last couple of times. That pattern of the tabernacle, the way he laid everything out is, I have it in here. Hang on, just give me a second. Right here. So this is that tabernacle that they made. And then all these, like the way he ordered the numbers of the children of the tribes of Israel around the tabernacle, it all worked out to be the pattern of the cross. And that's what Moses' law was. It's all just a prophecy of Christ. It wasn't for them to, it was for them to just believe, and they didn't listen. They never listened. And then they just kept breaking the law. So we'll keep going. According to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it. Verse 10, and they shall make an ark of shittim wood. This is the ark of the covenant. Ooh, this is fucking cool. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold. Within and without thou shalt overlay it, and shall make upon it a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof. And 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and 2 rings in the other side of it. And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with them. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold. Of beaten work shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. And make one cherub on one end, and the other cherub on the other end. Even of the mercy seat shall you make the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings. And their faces shall look one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. And there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony, of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. There's a couple different kinds of cubits. There's a standard cubit, and then there's an Egyptian cubit. It's generally about the length of your forearm. Let me get to measure of a cubit. Those are all things you're going to want to know. Cubit, inches, 17.4. Now he's just giving you a standard, the common scale, 17.4 inches. But there's also an Egyptian cubit, which is like 18 inches. I have it written on the board over here. Hang on a second. Oh, cubit is 18 inches. It got kind of wiped out over time. But I have it rounded just between the two. It's like 18.25 inches for an Egyptian cubit, and for a regular cubit, it's 17.49. So I just, it's 18 inches. 18 inches is a cubit. So when you read in the Bible, when you read like, the giant's bed was 9 cubits long, 18 is a foot and a half. So you've got a foot and a half. It's like 14 feet was the length of the giant's bed, and you'll read that in the Old Testament too. It's all really neat stuff. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereunto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make unto it a border of a handbreadth about. A handbreadth is the length of your hand. And thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. And thou shalt make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with them. And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and the spoons thereof, and the covers thereof, and the bowls thereof, to cover withal. Of pure gold shalt thou make them. And thou shalt set upon the table the showbread before me always. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold. Beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, his flowers shall be of the same. The knops. Okay, I had to look this up the first time I went through it. It's like the design on the table. I'll just show you. Images. Okay. So when you look at here, I don't know if it's going to show up clear. I don't know how much I can get zoomed in on it. So the knop is like this part where they join together right there. And then you've got the flowers. Here, we're gonna look it up. The bull or calyx, right? Flower or the bud, the shaft, the branch, choo choo choo. This way you get an idea on what he's talking about here. And it's really cool. Like once you get into all this and you really when you look when you go through and you take the time to look up and hit the dictionary and actually look up all this shit and you get the picture of it in your head, it's fucking awesome. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold. Of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be of the same. And 6 branches shall come out of the sides of it, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches out of the candlestick out of the other side. 3 bowls made like unto almonds, with a knop and a flower in one branch, and 3 bowls made like unto almonds in the other branch, with a knop and a flower. So in the 6 branches that come out of the candlestick, and in the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made like unto almonds, with their knops and their flowers. And there shall be a knop under the 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick, 3 on each side. Their knops and their branches shall be of the same, and it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. And thou shalt make the 7 lamps thereof, and they shall light the lamps thereof, that they may give light over against it. And the tongs thereof, and the snuff dishes thereof, shall be of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold shall he make it with all these vessels. And look that thou make them after their pattern, which was showed thee in the mount. Pretty neat shit. This is where all the tools for the sanctuary were made. For you guys, this might be boring. For me, this is the fucking coolest shit in the world. Verse 1. Moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet. With cherubims of cunning work shalt thou make them. The length of one curtain shall be 8 and 20 cubits. 8, so it's 28 cubits. 28 cubits. Hang on. Let's do, we got what, 1.5 times 28, 42 feet. So the length of one curtain shall be 8 and 20 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. So the length 42 feet, and the breadth of it would be 8 feet, right? Am I right here? Maybe I was a little off. 6. Damn, long ass curtains. The length of one curtain shall be 8 and 20 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. And every one of the curtains shall have one measure. The 5 curtains shall be coupled together one to one, and other 5 curtains shall be coupled one to another. And thou shalt make the loops of blue upon the edge of one curtain from the selvage. Oh shit, selvage. Let me look up the definition. Selvage edge. Okay, I see what it is. Here, just to get you guys so you understand the selvage. Like fucking Bible teaches you how to sew. Who would have thought? Selvage, not selvage. Okay, so it's just that lip. It's that lip right here. Boom. Salvage. Raw denim. What do you need to know? And I'm just looking. Interesting. Okay. Sorry. I'm just. And thou shalt make loops of blue upon the edge of one curtain from the selvage in the coupling, and likewise shalt thou make in the uttermost edge for another curtain in the coupling of the second. 50 loops thou shalt make in one curtain, and 50 loops thou shalt make in the edge of the curtain that is in the coupling of the second, that the loops may take hold one of another. And thou shalt make 50 taches of gold, and couple the curtains together with the taches, and it will be one tabernacle. And that's the box in and around. Boom, 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 all the way around. And the things. Oh, here I'll show you. Just look it up. I mean, it's neat to see. The tabernacle in wilderness. See if they give you the cutaway. So here you go. Here's all them curtains. Boom, 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 all the way around. So you can get an idea. I'll zoom in. Okay, so we can get cutaways. So these are the blue curtains right there. And I don't really, everybody's different. See, there's that pattern again. Like, I mean, I just don't understand why people don't put more effort into learning this book. It just baffles me. Because once you see what it is, it's just the coolest shit ever. There you go. Here's a good example of it. Boom, boom, boom. That's probably this one right here is probably more realistic. A little cleaner cut. That's what it is, man. This was the tabernacle in the wilderness. This is what he's ordering them to build. There we go. That was kind of cool. That'll show you and they have a mini version of this in Israel that you can look up and see for yourself. They do. They still do keep it at like it's a smaller version of it, but like you could tour it if you ever go there. They show videos of it on YouTube. It's pretty neat. I mean, it's knowing what we know, we're just like, okay, yeah, what the fuck, you guys are screwed anyway. But at the at the end of the day, it's still really cool to see. Kind of like I don't know if you guys know, but there's some fucking self righteous millionaire prick guy made the a copy of Noah's Ark in Kentucky. It's in Kentucky. They turned it into a museum. My whole family, I was going to take all the kids there, and I wanted to take the grandparents there too, but obviously you guys know how that goes. So, but we went and I looked on, like I sat the kids down and I'm like, if we're gonna go there, let's make sure we want to go. Like, let's make sure that this is something we really want to do. And when you look it up, you see that all over the walls on the inside, they've got counterfeit scripture. Just it's just fucking. You just really realize the whole. No, it's not Noah's Ark. It's a copy, but it's not Noah's Ark. I don't think it'd be worth the money. So, and neither did the kids. Once they saw the bullshit scripture on the wall, they're like, no, no, we're good. We'll wait when we can see the real thing. Okay, Exodus 26 verse 6. And thou shalt make 50 taches of gold and cover the curtains together with them, couple the curtains together with the taches, and it shall be one tabernacle. Verse 7. And thou shalt make curtains of goat's hair to be a covering upon the tabernacle. 11 curtains shalt thou make. The length of one curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain shall be 4 cubits. And the 11 curtains shall be made all of one measure. And thou shalt couple 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves, and shall double the 6th curtain in the forefront of the tabernacle. And thou shalt make 50 loops on the edge of one curtain that is utmost in the coupling, and 50 loops in the edge of the curtain which coupleth the second. And thou shalt make 50 taches of brass. What? Reading? I'm live? Why? And thou shalt make 50 taches of brass, and put the taches into the loops. and couple the tent together, that it may be one. And the remnant that remaineth of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remaineth, shall hang over the backside of the tabernacle. To your mouth. And a cubit on the one side, and a cubit on the other side of that which remaineth in the length of the curtains of the tent. It shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle on this side and on that side to cover it. And that was when, this is where you're seeing that overhang right here. See how it hangs over the side? That's what he's talking about. He's covering that. That's these things right here. And he coupled them all together. Okay. And thou shalt make a covering for the tent of rams' skins dyed red, and a covering above of badger skins. And thou shalt make boards of the tabernacle of shittim. And thou shalt make boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood standing up. 10 cubits shall be the length of a board, and a cubit and a half shall be the breadth of one board. 2 tenons shall there be in one board, set in order one against another. Thus shalt thou make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And thou shalt make the boards of the tabernacle, 20 boards on the south side, southward. And thou shalt make 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. Okay, so I know that's kind of, I remember doing this for my own self before, so I'll do it for you. Sockets and tenons. So, sockets, see these, this picture right here is the one. That's the one you want. So you see underneath, it's got like, it's like a stand, okay? And then the tenons are what you stick into them. It's a carpentry trick, right? It's how you join them. These are tenons right there, boom, and they go into the sockets, and that's how they stand, right? Mortise, tenon, mortise joint, boom. Okay, so now you guys see right there, tenons. That's the example. So now everybody knows what a tenon and a socket is. So now you can get an idea of what he's talking about, so they can stand up. And for the second side of the tabernacle on the north side, there shall be 20 boards, and there are 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward, thou shalt make 6 boards, and two boards shalt thou make for the corners of the tabernacle in the 2 sides, and they shall be coupled together beneath, and they shall be coupled together above the head of it unto one ring. Thus shall be it for them both. They shall be for the 2 corners, and they shall be, oh shit, my bad. Whoops. Okay. And they shall be coupled together beneath, verse 24, and they shall be coupled together above the head of it unto one ring. Thus shall it be for them both. They shall be for the 2 corners. And they shall be 8 boards, and their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And thou shalt make bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards on the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the side of the tabernacle, and 2 for the sides westward. And the middle bar in the midst of the boards shall reach from end to end. And thou shalt overlay the boards with gold, and make their rings of gold for places for the bars. And thou shalt overlay the bars with gold, and thou shalt rear up the tabernacle according to the fashion thereof, which was showed thee in the mount. This is a really important part coming up right here. Believe it or not, it just really is. And thou shalt make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twinned linen of cunning work. With cherubim shall it be made. And thou shalt hang it upon 4 pillars of shittim wood overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold, upon the 4 sockets of silver. And thou shalt hang up the veil under the taches, that thou mayest bring in thither within the veil the ark of the testimony. And the veil shall divide unto you between the holy place and the most holy. And I'm going to show you, this is where this gets fun. 1 Corinthians, not 2 Corinthians, chapter 7. So you've got Exodus 26:33. You're going to tie it here to. Okay. Let me see. It has to be here. Hang on. Which veil? It's 3. It was 3, not 7. My bad. I was thinking repentance. I don't know why, but it is 3. So, okay. So you'll tie it to verse 13. So that veil was to divide the holiest of holies from the sanctuary. So the priest, there's only one priest that could go into the holiest of holy, and he would go in one time a year to make offering for the sins of the people. And he had to go beyond that veil. That veil, when Jesus was crucified in the temple that they had, obviously in the second temple, when Jesus was crucified, that veil was torn in half. Like literally, the earth shook and moved the foundation of the temple so much that it tore the veil in half. And so you see here in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, seeing then that we have such hope. So you'll tie Exodus 26:33 to 2 Corinthians 3:12 through 15. So seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech, and not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, and that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look into the end of that which is abolished, but their minds were blinded. For unto this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. They still, now he says in 16, nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. And it's the same veil he talked about. That was the one that covered Moses' face, but it's the same representation, same thing, same veil. It's the veil that separates a sinner from God. The sinners can't go into the holiest of holy. Period. 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 It's never going to happen. That's why they don't get in. But then in Hebrews, he talks about. Oh, where is it? Let me see if I got it in here. I should just have it in here. We're at what? 25, 26, 33, 26, verse 33. The veil, 26, 31, 2 Corinthians 3:14. Okay. Yeah, I had 2 Corinthians 3:14 tied to it, so it's the same thing. That veil is done away in Christ. It's done. It's over. So Exodus chapter 26, verse 33. And thou shalt hang up the veil under the taches, that thou mayest bring in thither within the veil the ark of the testimony, and the veil shall divide unto you between the holy place and the most holy. And thou shalt put the mercy seat upon the ark of the testimony in the most holy place, and thou shalt set the table without the veil, and the candlesticks over against the table on the side of the tabernacle towards the south, and thou shalt put the table on the north side. And thou shalt make a hanging for the door of the tent of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, wrought with needlework. And thou shalt make for the hanging 5 pillars of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, and their hooks shall be of gold. And thou shalt cast 5 sockets of brass for them. Exodus 27. All right. And thou shalt make an altar of shittim wood, 5 cubits long, 5 cubits broad. The altar shall be 4 square, and the height thereof shall be 3 cubits. And thou shalt make the horns of it upon the 4 corners thereof. His horns shall be of the same, and thou shalt overlay it with brass. And thou shalt make his pans to receive his ashes, and his shovels, and his basins, and his flesh hooks, and his fire pans, and all the vessels thereof thou shalt make of brass. And thou shalt make for it a grate of network of brass, and upon the net shalt thou make 4 brassen rings in the 4 corners thereof. And thou shalt put it under the compass of the altar beneath. TT, I don't know. I think they're all upstairs, or someone's in the bathroom. And thou shalt put it under the compass of the altar beneath, that the net may be even to the midst of the altar. So that's the wire grate. So they would burn things on this grate. And thou shalt make staves for the altar, staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with brass. And the staves shall be put into the rings, and the staves shall be upon the two sides of the altar to bear it. Hollow with boards shalt thou make it, as it was showed thee in the mount, so shall they make it. And thou shalt make the court of the tabernacle. For the south side southward there shall be hangings for the court of fine twined linen, and 100 cubits long for one side. And the 20 pillars thereof and their 20 sockets shall be of brass. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets shall be of silver. And likewise for the north side in length there shall be hangings of 100 cubits long, and his 20 pillars, and their 20 sockets of brass. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the breadth of the court on the west side shall be hangings. You know what? Because for you guys, fillets of silver, antique silver fillet. Fillet. Yeah, there you go. Fillet. Fillet knife. That's what that is. Fillets of silver. That's neat. Okay. And likewise for the north side. Oh wait, did I show it to you? No, I don't think I did. Right here. Here's your fillet. A fillet of silver. Oof. Designer's guide. Okay, never mind. It would be the joinings, the corner joints. Right here. Yeah, the corner joint. Yep, okay. I like to have a visual of it so I know in my mind when I'm reading and I can put it all together. And thou shalt make the court of the tabernacle. For the south side southward there shall be hangings for the court of twined linen of 100 cubits long for one side. And the 20 pillars thereof and their 20 sockets shall be of brass. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets shall be of silver. So is the joint, the corner joints, like the crown molding going around your ceiling. And likewise for the north side in length there shall be hangings of 100 cubits long, and its 20 pillars and their 20 sockets of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the breadth of the court on the west side shall be hangings. Girls. And for the breadth of the court on the west side shall be hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10. And the breadth of the court on the east side, eastward, shall be 50 cubits. The hangings of one side of the gate shall be 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And on the other side shall be hangings 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the gate of the court shall be a hanging of 20 cubits, of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, wrought with needlework, and their pillars shall be 4, and their sockets 4. All the pillars round about the court shall be filleted with silver. Their hooks shall be of silver, and their sockets of brass. The length of the court shall be 100 cubits, and the breadth 50 everywhere, and the height 5 cubits of fine twined linen, and their sockets of brass. All the vessels of the tabernacle in all the service thereof, and all the pins thereof, and all the pins of the court shall be of brass. And thou shalt command the children of Israel that they bring thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamp to burn always. In the tabernacle of the congregation without the veil, which is before the testimony, Aaron and his sons shall order it from evening to morning before the Lord. It shall be a statute forever unto their generations on behalf of the children of Israel. It shall be a statute forever unto their generations on behalf of the children of Israel. Beautiful. All right. Where are we at here? An hour and 55 minutes. Not bad. 8 people still in here. Good job. Congratulations, guys. There's 8 people making it through Exodus. I didn't expect, but maybe more than one. Exodus will wear you out. Exodus and Leviticus, and then you trying to keep track of everything too. Like I got a notebook here, right, and I keep track of everything to the best of my ability, and trying to memorize the genealogies and everything with it too. At least the basics of it, like who 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 was Abraham or not Abraham. I don't want to ask who Abraham. Who was I think yeah. Like who was Moses' dad? Does anybody know that? That's a good one. So trying to keep the basics of that. So if I ever run across somebody that thinks they know it, they don't. They never do. And take thou unto thee Aaron thy brother. Exodus 28 verse 1. And thou take thou unto thee Aaron thy brother and his sons with him from among the children of Israel, that he may minister me in the priest's office, minister unto me in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. And thou shalt make holy garments for Aaron, for thy brother, for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate, and an ephod, and a robe, and a broidered coat, a mitre, and a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And they shall take gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen. These are fun, actually. Well, I can't say. I mean, I'm not going to say it's fun, but I'm going to say that these are neat. Aaron's the fucking sorry, Aaron's furniture and shit. Aaron's ephod and wait. So this is what it's talking about. This is probably pretty good. Yeah. So you got the linen turban, plate of pure gold for his head. The ephod is the shoulder straps, right? Is the shoulder thing. Breastplate of judgment, which is what you see on his chest, where he's got the 12 stones for the 12 tribes of Israel, just like this right there. The robe for the ephod, robe of the ephod, stones of memorial, breastplate of judgment, the 4 rows of stones and strings of gold, chains of gold, embroidered sash, checkered linen coat, linen breeches, pomegranates, and gold bells on the end of that was his fringes at the bottom. Here he gives you all that. Just to give you an idea of what this dude looked like, what his clothes were. So then that way, as we read this, you can, see it for yourself. Look at this shit. These people really. Oh man, it's priceless. They can never be what these guys were, ever, ever. Man, oh, that'd have been so cool. I'm gonna get to meet those dudes. Oh, it's so fucking exciting. And they shall take gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen, and they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and of purple and of scarlet, of fine twined linen, with cunning work. It shall have 2 shoulder pieces thereof, joined at the 2 edges thereof, so it shall be joined together. And the curious girdle of the ephod, which is upon it, shall be of the same, according to the work thereof, even of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones, and grave on them the names of the children of Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the other names of the rest on the other stone, according to their birth, with the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet. Shalt thou engrave the 2 stones with the names of the children of Israel. Thou shalt make them to be set in ouches of gold. Wait, I don't know if I actually shared the tab. Just so you know, this right here, that's probably the most realistic out of all of them. This guy right here. Oh. Okay, much better. Whew. fucking shit stuck in my throat. Yeah, I would say that was probably the most realistic out of all of them. Just when I read, like, as you read, that's what it looked like. The ephod, which held the breast, which held all that. Two. That's cool. Breastplate with all the stones. It's just neat. It's really, 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 really neat. All right. With the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet, shalt thou engrave the two stones with the names of the children of Israel. Thou shalt make them to be set in ouches of gold. And thou shalt put the two stones upon the shoulders of the ephods for stones of memorial unto the children of Israel. So on that ephod that goes over him like this, on the shoulder plate, there's one stone on one side and another stone on the other, and in each stone is the 12 tribes, is the names written of the 12 tribes of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before the Lord upon his two shoulders for memorial. And thou shalt make ouches of gold, and two chains of pure gold at the ends of wreathen work. Shalt thou make them and fasten the wreath chains to the ouches. So it's like wreath chains. I don't know if you guys have ever seen military. You know how they've got the I forgot what the name of it is. I had a silver one when I was in boot camp. The it goes fuck. What is the name of it? Anyway, it's that wreath and chain. It's not a chain for military. It's just a piece of cloth rope, and it goes around. It just signifies, like, if you're commanding a platoon or whatever, you'll get one. It's a leadership thing. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work. After the work of an ephod shalt thou make it of gold, of blue, of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen shalt thou make it. 4 square it shall be, being doubled. A span shall be the length thereof, and a span shall be the breadth thereof. And thou shalt set it in the settings of stone, even the 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be sardius, topaz, carbuncle. This shall be the first row. The second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a ligure, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. And these are the 4 rows of stones on his chest. They shall be set in gold in their enclosings, and the stones shall be with the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with his name, shall they be according to the 12 tribes. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate chains at the end of the wreathen work of pure gold. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and shalt put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And thou shalt put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate. And the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains shalt thou fasten in the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And thou shalt make 2 rings of gold, and thou shalt put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate, in the border thereof, which is in the side of the ephod inward. And 2 other rings of gold shalt thou make, and shalt put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forepart thereof, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate by the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it may be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate be not loosed from the ephod. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart when he goeth in unto the holy place, for a memorial before the Lord continually. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart. I think these are instruments. It's weird. When he goeth in before the Lord, and Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before the Lord continually. Imagine having that on your shoulders. And thou shalt make the robe of the ephod of all blue, and there shall be a hole in the top of it, in the midst thereof. It shall have a binding of woven work round about the whole of it, as it were the hole of a habergeon, that it be not rent. And beneath upon the hem of it thou shalt make pomegranates of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, round about the hem thereof, and bells of gold between them round about. A golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate, upon the hem of the robe round about. So all the way around the bottom of his robe, it was pomegranate blue and gold bell. And it shall be upon Aaron to minister, and his sound shall be heard when he goeth into the holy place before the Lord, and when he cometh out, that he die not. And thou shalt make a plate of pure gold, and grave upon it, like the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And thou shalt put it on a blue lace, that it may be upon the mitre. Upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be, and it shall be upon Aaron's forehead, that Aaron may bear the iniquity of the holy things which the children of Israel shall hallow in all their holy gifts. And it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before the Lord. And thou shalt embroider the coat of fine linen, and thou shalt make the mitre of fine linen, and thou shalt make the girdle of needlework. And for Aaron's sons, TT, what do you need, lady? And for Aaron's sons thou shalt make coats, and thou shalt make for them girdles, and bonnets shalt thou make for them for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt put them upon Aaron thy brother, and his sons with him, and shalt anoint them, and consecrate them, and sanctify them, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness, from the loins even unto the thighs they shall reach, and they shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons when they come into the tabernacle of the congregation, or when they come near to the altar to minister in the holy place, that they bear not iniquity and die. It shall be a statute forever unto him and his seed after him. Everybody still with me here? You guys good? Oh, lost one. All right. Exodus 29. And this is the thing that thou shalt do unto them to hallow them, to minister unto me in the priest's office. Take one young bullock and 2 rams without blemish, and unleavened bread, and cakes unleavened, tempered with oil, and wafers unleavened, anointed with oil. Of wheaten flour shalt thou make them, and thou shalt put them into one basket, and bring them in the basket with the bullock and the 2 rams. And Aaron and his sons thou shalt bring unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shalt wash them with water. And thou shalt take the garments, and put upon Aaron the coat, and the robe of the ephod, and the breastplate, and gird him with the curious girdle of the ephod. And thou shalt put the mitre upon his head, and put the holy crown upon the mitre. Then shalt thou take the anointing oil, and pour it upon his head, and anoint him. And thou shalt bring his sons, and put coats upon them. And thou shalt gird them with girdles, Aaron and his sons, and put the bonnets on them, and the priest's office shall be theirs for a perpetual statute. And thou shalt consecrate Aaron and his sons. You know what I wonder? Man, I wonder if we're going to come across that in this one. Let me tell you something about Aaron. His sons fucked up one time, and God wiped them out, killed them right then and there. Boom, done. And God told Aaron, "Don't you fucking cry. Don't you fucking cry about it." Like something that's just, I don't know why I'm thinking about it, but it's hardcore, man. These guys were fucking brutal. And thou shalt cause a bullock to be brought before the tabernacle of the congregation, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the bullock, and thou shalt kill the bullock before the Lord by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt take the blood of the bullock, and put it upon the horns of the altar with thy finger, and pour all the blood beside the bottom of the altar. And thou shalt take all the fat that covereth the inwards, and the caul that is above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and burn them upon the altar. But the flesh of the bullock, and his skin, and his dung, shalt thou burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering. Now, this right here, check this out. So, but the flesh of the bullock, and his skin, and his dung, thou shalt burn with fire without the camp. They had to go outside with it. It is a sin offering. So, Exodus 29:14. Ooh, let me see. It'll give me the New Testament. Verses. Oh, damn it. Oh. Oh, man. Hang on. I'm in Old Testament mode, so my brain's like, uh, Jesus killed. Verse. See if I can pull this up real quick. Hebrews 13:12. Yes. Okay. So Exodus chapter 29:14. He says, "But the flesh of the bullock and his skin and his dung shalt thou burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering." Okay. So Hebrews chapter 13, verse 12. You'll see right here. We'll even go 10, 11, 12. So Exodus 29:14 to Hebrews 13:10 through 12. We have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. So we have an altar which they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. That's still to this day. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned without the camp. See that? See that right there? So Hebrews 13:11 would go to Exodus 29:14, but the next verse is really where it is. Wherefore Jesus also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate, suffered without the camp. Let us go forth therefore unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. So I thought you guys would get a kick out of that, right? So Hebrews 13:11 to Exodus 29:14. But the flesh of the bullock and his skin and his dung shalt thou burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering. So this was signifying what, again, when it said Moses, it was it's John chapter 5 verse 49 or something. He said Moses wrote of him, right? All of this was prophecy about Christ. Everything. It was just a shadow of what was to come. But the flesh of the bullock and his skin and his dung shalt thou burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering. Exodus 29:15. Thou shalt also take one ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the ram, and thou shalt slay the ram, and thou shalt take his blood and sprinkle it round about the altar. And thou shalt cut the ram in pieces, and wash the inwards of him and his legs, and put them unto his pieces and unto his head. And thou shalt burn the whole ram upon the altar. It is a burnt offering unto the Lord. It is a sweet savor, an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And thou shalt take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the ram. Then shalt thou kill the ram, and take of his blood, and put it on the tip of the right ear of Aaron, and upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of their right hand, and upon the great toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about. And thou shalt take of the blood that is upon the altar, and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it upon Aaron, and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon the garments of his sons with him, and he shall be hallowed, and his garments, and his sons' garments with him. Also, thou shalt take of the ram of the fat, and the rump, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and the right shoulder, for it is a ram of consecration, and one loaf of bread, and one cake of oiled bread, and one wafer out of the basket of the unleavened bread that is before the Lord. And thou shalt put all in the hands of Aaron, and in the hands of his sons, and shalt wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And thou shalt receive them of their hands, and burn them upon the altar for a burnt offering, for a sweet savor before the Lord. It is an offering made by fire unto the Lord. The heave offering, wave offering, drink offering, meat offering. There's an actual order for these things to be done. And thou shalt take the breast of the ram of Aaron's consecration, and wave it for a wave offering before the Lord, and it shall be thy part. And thou shalt sanctify the breast of the wave offering, and the shoulder of the heave offering, which is heaved up, of the ram of consecration, even of that which is for Aaron, and of that which is for his sons. And it shall be Aaron's and his sons by a statute forever from the children of Israel. For it is a heave offering, and it shall be a heave offering from the children of Israel of the sacrifice of their peace offerings, even their heave offering unto the Lord. And the holy garments of Aaron shall be his sons after him, to be anointed therein, and to be consecrated in them. And that son that is priest, and that son that is priest in his stead, shall put them on 7 days when he cometh into the tabernacle of the congregation to minister in the holy place. And thou shalt take the ram of the consecration, and seethe his flesh in the holy place. And Aaron and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram, and the bread that is in the basket by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And they shall eat those things wherewith the atonement was made to consecrate and to sanctify them. But a stranger shall not eat thereof, because they are holy. And if aught of the flesh of the consecrations or of the bread remain unto the morning, then thou shalt burn the remainder with fire. It shall not be eaten, because it is holy. And thus shalt thou do unto Aaron and to his sons according to all things which I commanded thee. 7 days shalt thou consecrate them, and thou shalt offer every day a bullock for a sin offering for atonement, and thou shalt cleanse the altar when thou hast made an atonement for it, and thou shalt anoint it to sanctify it. So you read all this shit, and then you're like, you still want to keep the fucking law? You still think you can do this? You still think, like, to all the Jews in Israel, you think they do this? You think they line up with this? No, the fuck they don't. And thou shalt offer every day for a bullock for a sin offering for atonement, and thou shalt cleanse the altar when thou hast made an atonement for it, and thou shalt anoint it to sanctify it. 7 days shalt thou make an atonement for the altar and sanctify it, and it shall be an altar most holy. Whatsoever toucheth the altar shall be holy. Now this is that which thou shalt offer upon the altar: 2 lambs of the first year, day by day, continually. The one lamb shall offer in the morning, and the other thou shalt offer at even. And with the one lamb 1/10 deal of flour mingled, and with the 4th part of a hin of beaten oil, and the 4th part of a hin of wine for a drink offering. And the other lamb thou shalt offer at even, and shalt do thereunto according to the meat offering of the morning, and according to the drink offering thereof, for a sweet savor, an offering made by fire unto the Lord. This shall be a continual burnt offering throughout your generations at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord, where I will meet you to speak there unto thee. And there I will meet with the children of Israel, and the tabernacle shall be sanctified by my glory. And I will sanctify the tabernacle of the congregation and the altar. I will sanctify also both Aaron and his sons to minister to me in the priest's office. And I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will be their God, and they shall know that I am the Lord their God, that brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, that I may dwell among them. I am the Lord their God. All this obviously is contingent on them keeping up with it. Where are we at? I think I'm going to wrap it up. I think I'll wrap it up. I want to read on my own. I really do. I got to go back and reread all this so I can write. I'm going to write down everything I'm learning, the process of the priest. It's fucking cool, man. All I'm going to tell you is take your time, read the book. Read the book. Oh, where was the verse we went over here? Do. Tables of stone. Let's see. This 31:18. No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Will 24:12. That was what it is. Okay. So Exodus chapter 24:12. Right here. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. Okay. Tie this to Ephesians chapter 2 verse 15 right here. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 15. So you got Exodus 24:12 to Ephesians 2:15, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments is abolished. Even the law of commandments contained in ordinances. Okay? He did away with them both. For to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace. Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace. When God gave this to Moses, it was a prophecy about Christ. That's why he always said, what you saw in the mount, what you saw in the mount, what you saw in the mount, what you saw in the mount. Moses and Aaron were believers just like me and the people that you see in the comments. They were no different. No different. It was the children of Israel that had the fucking problem. That's why Aaron was their priest. God said, you're going to make offerings for them. Boom, 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 boom. And that's how this all came about. And they never listened. They never did listen. They never did learn. Once they made that offering for sin, they were supposed to have pure conscience. They didn't. They didn't. And so they made continual offering over and over and over. And God just done with it. Fucking done with it. Jesus was the end of that. Jesus was the offering. So I love you guys very, 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 very much. I enjoyed tonight's stream. It was very laid back, very easy, very relaxed. And I mean, at the end of the day, really, God looked out for my family today. Been doing it all week. I didn't even know, man. I didn't even know. She got denied. I would have to do something wrong. Like, and that's the thing. Like, everybody makes, I'm just telling people the truth. They just don't like it. Go preach. Go read. Teach the truth. Be a faithful witness. I love y'all. I salute the brethren. I'm out. Good night.